If you maintain a valid license for a full calendar year without obtaining pointable moving violations, you may be eligible to receive a good point on your driving record. A. True. B. False. A. True. If you maintain a valid DC driver license for a full calendar year without obtaining pointable moving violations, you may be eligible to receive a good point on your driving record. You may pass a vehicle when A. You are on a hill or curve. B. You are on a road with a solid line next to your lane. C. You are on a road with a broken line next to your lane. C. You are on a road with a broken line next to your lane. A single broken line indicates that drivers may cross from either lane to change lanes. Dashed yellow lines alongside solid yellow lines indicate that passing is permitted from the lane next to the broken line, but not from the lane next to the solid line. Only change lanes when it is safe to do so. When approaching a disabled pedestrian using a guide dog, white cane, or other assistive device, a driver should yield the right of way. A. True. B. False. A. True. A pedestrian with a disability who is utilizing a guide dog, a white cane, a wheelchair, or another assistive device, whether on a sidewalk or roadway, has the right of way and is granted the same rights as any other pedestrian. Give the right of way to any pedestrian who is A. In a marked crosswalk. B. In any crosswalk or intersection. C. Crossing any street. C. Crossing any street. Drivers must yield the right of way to pedestrians who are crossing the street in any marked or unmarked crosswalk. In the interest of safety, drivers should yield the right of way to people crossing any street.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
You may continue carefully through an intersection with a yellow light if A. There is an emergency vehicle crossing your lane. B. There are pedestrians crossing. C. You are turning right. D. You are already within the intersection when the light changes to yellow. D. You are already within the intersection when the light changes to yellow. If a steady yellow light appears when you are already within an intersection, you should continue through the intersection carefully. This green arrow on a lane use control signal means A. You may use this lane. B. No traffic is allowed in this lane. C. You have the right of way. D. You must merge into this lane. A. You may use this lane. A steady downward green arrow over a traffic lane means you may use the lane indicated. There is no crosswalk and you see a pedestrian crossing your lane ahead. You should A. Make eye contact with and then pass the pedestrian. B. Slow down as you pass the pedestrian. C. Stop and let the pedestrian finish crossing the street. C. Stop and let the pedestrian finish crossing the street. At an intersection where traffic is not controlled by traffic signal lights, drivers are required to yield the right of way to pedestrians within any crosswalk, marked or unmarked. Even if there is no crosswalk, yield to the pedestrian. In which of the following scenarios should your wheels not be pointed straight ahead? A. When waiting to make a left turn at a traffic light. B. When parked on a hill or sloping driveway. C. When parked on the side of a level roadway where there is no curb. B. When parked on a hill or sloping driveway. While waiting to turn left, keep your wheels pointed straight ahead until it is safe to start your turn. If a vehicle hits you from behind, this will prevent you from veering into oncoming traffic. When parked facing either uphill or downhill, turn the wheels so the vehicle will not roll into traffic if the brakes fail. When driving in work zones, you should A. Increase your speed to get through the zone as quickly as possible. B. Reduce your speed and be prepared to stop suddenly. C. Maintain your normal speed the whole way through the zone. B. Reduce your speed and be prepared to stop suddenly. When entering and driving through a work zone, slow down and be prepared to stop. Obey posted speed limits and be alert to conditions around you. Workers could be present. Prior to entering a curve. A. Activate your turn signal. B. Reduce your speed. C. Brake hard. B. Reduce your speed. You may drive more slowly than the posted speed limit, based on road conditions, but it is illegal to drive any faster than the posted speed limit. Some conditions which require reduced speed for safety include approaching curves or hills where visibility is limited, driving on slippery roads, and driving on roads where animals and pedestrians are present. If you want to enter the freeway but you don't see a gap in traffic, you should A. Maintain your speed and force the other drivers to create a gap. B. Slow down on the ramp to wait for a gap. C. Stop at the end of the ramp to wait for a gap. B. Slow down on the ramp to wait for a gap. If you want to enter the freeway but do not see a space for your vehicle in traffic, slow down on the ramp to wait for a gap. Do not drive to the end of the ramp and wait for a gap, or you will not have enough room to accelerate to the speed of traffic before entering the roadway. This sign means A. There is a 35 miles per hour speed zone after the curve ahead. B. Drive no slower than 35 miles per hour around the upcoming curve. C. Approach the upcoming curve at a speed of 35 miles per hour or slower. C. Approach the upcoming curve at a speed of 35 miles per hour or slower. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. They alert you to conditions that are immediately ahead. These signs may be accompanied by speed advisory plaques that indicate the speed with which you should proceed. A work zone. A. May be moving or stationary. B. Is marked with black and white signs. C. Does not require a driver to slow down and pay extra attention. D. All of the above. A. May be moving or stationary. Work zones are often stationary, but they may also be present in the form of moving vehicles striping lines, mowing, or removing snow. Work zones are marked by orange signs with black lettering or symbols. Slow down and pay extra attention when approaching or driving through a work zone. The sign indicates A. A detour. B. An upcoming construction or maintenance area. C. A passing zone. B. An upcoming construction or maintenance area. Diamond-shaped signs are used to warn drivers about upcoming hazards or special conditions. Construction areas are usually indicated by orange-colored warning signs. Construction zone signs are generally A. Square or rectangular with white and red coloring. B. Round or octagonal with black and yellow coloring. C. Diamond-shaped or rectangular with orange and black coloring. C. Diamond-shaped or rectangular with orange and black coloring. All temporary signs in work zones have an orange background with black letters or symbols. These signs are found on the right side of the road, or on both the left and right sides if the roadway is a divided highway. A good defensive driver. A. Drives slowly at all times. B. Looks out for the actions of other drivers. C. Travels at a constant speed. D. Only drives in familiar areas. B. Looks out for the actions of other drivers. Even the most experienced drivers can be distracted while driving. A defensive driver looks out for the actions of other drivers and anticipates potential problems. It is illegal for a person 21 years of age or older to drive with a minimum blood alcohol concentration (BAC) of A. 0.05%, B. 0.08%, C. 0.02%, D. 0.1%, B. 0.08%. For drivers age 21 or older, it is illegal to operate a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol concentration (BAC) of 0.08% or higher. Driving while under the influence of alcohol is not only illegal, but dangerous. You are involved in an accident. You should A. Stop immediately. B. Help the injured. C. Call the police. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If involved in an accident, you should stop your vehicle immediately. If possible, move the vehicle out of the way of traffic. Call the nearest police agency and ask for an ambulance, if necessary. Do not move the injured unnecessarily, but attempt to stop severe bleeding with direct pressure. Wait for emergency vehicles to arrive. Trucks' blind spots are A. Directly behind the body. B. On the immediate left of the cab. C. Both on the immediate left of the cab and directly behind the body. C. Both on the immediate left of the cab and directly behind the body. A truck's blind spots are much larger than a smaller car's blind spots. The driver cannot see your car behind their vehicle and you can't see what's happening in traffic ahead if you're driving too closely behind the truck. Whether you are driving behind or to the side of the truck, if you can't see the driver's face in their side view mirror, then they can't see you. Drivers who eat and drink while driving. A. Make no driving errors. B. Have trouble driving slowly. C. Are better drivers because they are not hungry. D. Have trouble controlling their vehicles. D. Have trouble controlling their vehicles. Choosing to eat, drink, or smoke while driving is dangerous because these actions require a driver to remove their hands from the wheel and their eyes from the road. Drivers who engage in distracting activities while driving have trouble staying in their lanes and controlling their vehicles. When faced with an oncoming car to the left and a bicyclist to the right, you should A. Pull onto the shoulder. B. Split the difference. C. Let the car pass and then pass the bike. D. Pass the bike quickly. C. Let the car pass and then pass the bike. When there is more than one potential hazard on the road, you should ensure that you only have to deal with one of them at a time. For example, when there is a bicyclist on the right that you want to pass and an oncoming car to the left, you should not try to squeeze between both at the same time. Instead, let the oncoming car pass, and then pass the bicyclist. To be safe when crossing a railroad, you should A. Look both ways, but only when the red light is flashing. B. Listen, look both ways, and then proceed if it is safe to do so. C. Cross especially quickly when a train is approaching. D. Quickly pass under any lowering gates. B. Listen, look both ways, and then proceed if it is safe to do so. Railroad crossings are always dangerous. Drivers should look and listen for an approaching train coming from either direction before proceeding across the tracks. Watch for signals indicating an approaching train and never proceed until you are certain it is safe to do so. What does alcohol do to your driving skills and judgment? A. It helps driving skills but harms your judgment. B. It harms both driving skills and judgment. C. It has no effect on either driving skills or judgment. D. It has no effect on judgment but it harms driving skills. B. It harms both driving skills and judgment. Alcohol negatively affects many skills needed for safe driving, including your reaction time and ability to see clearly. It can also harm your judgment of speed and distance, lower your inhibitions, and make you more prone to taking chances. When driving behind another vehicle at night, you should A. Keep your headlights on the low beam setting. B. Use your high beam headlights until you are within 10 feet of the vehicle ahead. C. Use your high beam headlights. A. Keep your headlights on the low beam setting. Use high beam headlights only when driving in rural areas and when other cars are not nearby. Lower your headlights to their low beam setting when you are following closely behind another driver. It is legal to make a left turn at a red traffic light after stopping only if A. You are traveling on a two-way street and turning onto a two-way street. B. You are traveling on a one-way street and turning onto another one-way street. C. You yield to all other traffic at the intersection. B. You are traveling on a one-way street and turning onto another one-way street. After coming to a complete stop, you may turn left at a red light only if you are traveling on a one-way street and turning onto another one-way street. Only make the turn if there are no posted signs prohibiting such a turn.